Hello. How are we all doing today? Okay, cool. Welcome everybody. Who do we have in the chat today? Davor, Trobe, welcome. If anybody else is here, then say hello. Jam B, welcome. NM, long time no see. Yeah, not streaming quite as often. But good to see. Shalon. All right. We have 30 people in here. Make sure you hit the like button if you're here. Smash up the likes. And yeah, we'll begin in just a moment. Hope everyone's having a good day. Hope everyone is surviving the dump so far. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about important things to be looking at over the next few days. Important levels to be aware of. We'll talk about all this kind of thing. And of course, when the New York Open begins, we will also cover that. So yeah, lots to discuss, as usual. Cool. What should we begin with? We'll start off with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and we'll look at some altcoins. Yeah, we'll just look at a load of stuff, right? Cool. Anybody else is here, then yeah, say hi. Say hi in the chat, ask any questions, do whatever you want to do. And yeah, we will start. So yeah, Bitcoin, I mean, had a bit more of a dump than I was really expecting. So I think a lot of this really is due to the need for Ethereum to get a real nice pullback before all-time highs get taken. So essentially, like we had we have our all-time highs up here, okay, at 4,867, and we came very, very close to it. But the thing is with this, well, like once you take out some internal liquidity, we see this so often, and in fact Bitcoin's done it at the bottom of the range just today, right? You take out internal highs, you take out internal lows quite often before you really go for like the big one, which is the all-time high. So previously when Ethereum broke its all-time high, we had a really similar situation going on. Okay, so we can go back to what happened back here, and it's like when you actually look at the structure of how you just have this massive like just void in the middle, and it's a similar kind of situation that we've had on this cycle with this like, or well, with this like two, I mean, it hasn't really done anything so far this cycle up until this point. But it was really similar back in 2020, where we had this kind of situation going on, and I was looking for pullbacks on Ethereum, and we had this happening, right? So Ethereum had this big run up, okay, came to within a couple of percent of its all-time high, 4% of its all-time high, then had a big drop, and then it finally broke the all-time high, dropped again, broke it again, dropped again, and then you just had this consolidation within this like big triangle structure before the major like move that we got back in 2021. Okay, so it's a similar kind of thing that we've got really going on here, where we've had this big run up towards all-time highs. Okay, now we're getting the pullback to correct imbalances below to start to test into what was previous resistance for, well, since like March 2024. So we've hit this like 4,100 zone multiple times. Okay, this 4,000, 4,100 area. Back in March 2024, in May, in December. again here in July, and then finally breaking through. And yeah, at first attempt at all-time high, it's relatively likely that we're going to stall out. Okay, people getting bullish having not had chance to take profits, because almost like anyone that's long at this stage or has been long from down here, the big TP will be at all-time high, but you're going to get some natural supply coming into the market as you approach it. And that's what we've seen here, is it just was unable to break. You had an SFP, a local SFP last Thursday, that led to a change in like that local market structure, and then it's just been looking back down at finding support again. For Ethereum, I think this is really, really nice support, which is why I'm starting with Ethereum here, because I do believe that this is a nice zone in which to be bidding. I did get in a little bit early, so I'd been buying, like I went long last night as we took out these lows basically. And right now my position's in profit, but not much. I took a little bit of a loss because I went in with a lot more size than I probably should have done. And I wanted to, because it's the first time I've really seen an opportunity to go like in with like some decent risk. I missed the chance going like max long Ethereum back here, right? I missed this opportunity. So I think part of me was like, okay, I didn't really get this run up. I had a very small position that I started to accumulate here, but I didn't really get this run up because it was such a small position. I closed out of that at 4,200, missed this final leg. And now that we're back down here at support, I'm really looking to, because I didn't get the decent size here, I may be being a little bit more risk on this one, which could be a bit silly. But the market will let me know if this is a good decision or a bad decision in due course. Obviously, we can still go a lot lower. I did want to see this proper test below the yearly open. That is still a possibility. If we do come down there, then there's absolutely no way that I would be able to hold this trade. I would likely get liquidated if price comes down here. So I would have to manage it if we do start taking out today's low. But yeah, Ethereum, I'm thinking right now is this looks like a nice pullback. We're what, 15% off of the highs so far. If this was to drop down to here, it's a 30% correction, which is again is very much possible, and wouldn't really change anything in the macro. But that is essentially what I'm looking for on ETH at the moment. I think we also have the 50 moving average coming. It's not really very close actually at the moment right now. There's this 200 moving average on the 4 hour that's fairly close. Again, this is a similar kind of thing. Like I was looking to bid into this area previously, wasn't able to, so that's why I'm bidding a little bit more heavily now. But yeah, Ethereum's been the one that's been very technical, very nice. So if we go on to the lower timeframes here, we can see the CME gap. So we had the CME gap on Ethereum, and that got hit perfectly. So if we have here we go here, this is your CME gap here on ETH, right? The daily close from last Friday. And once again, you can see like we just tapped that and getting a decent bounce so far. So nice level to get a reaction from. Not a lot of people looking at the CME gaps on Ethereum. A lot of people clearly looking at it on Bitcoin, but these gaps on Ethereum have tended to be pretty nice, right? You had an occasion back here. All right, this was the 24th of July, where a similar kind of thing, right? We had this little gap, you hit it, you ended up making new highs. You had this gap here, right, which was hit, got a decent bounce. So these CME gaps on Ethereum have generally been pretty good, but yeah, we'll wait and see if this is a decent level and see if this can hold. There is still quite a lot of imbalance below if this is to start dumping anymore, and it could do that, because I think as in terms of like an initial bounce from this level, it's done everything that it needed to do, which is to take local highs. Okay, so we had this. I'm going to turn this onto bars because it's a little bit cleaner again, and have it on the 30-minute. And you had these single prints from yesterday. So Tuesday, 19th of August, as we were getting this big move down, this is when I was starting to long, okay, here. And then I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, and then was holding it overnight, and it was all a little bit sketchy. And then we did what would have been the really nice trade, and we so often see this, is you close very bearish on the day, then you take out the previous day lows, and then you go for a rally after that. So this has been pretty decent, a decent rally from here, but you can see we've just swept into those single prints here. Okay, got a rejection. Hour ago we had the whatever data it was that came out, can't remember. A bit of a dip back into this area where there's a gap, trying to hold, but we just have to wait and see because the structure at the moment is bearish. Okay, you do have to be considering more downside on this, especially if you start to look at the trend that we're in. All right, we are very clearly over the last few days, over the last week or so, in a pretty big downtrend. Yeah, so we'll watch this, see what happens during the New York Open, which is in 15 minutes from now. But yeah, it's can we make a higher low here and start to break back through? I think if we get back above like 4,280, then things are starting to look pretty good. We can look to reverse this and go up to make some new highs again. Because if we do bounce from here, I do think that that's going to be the point in which Ethereum breaks all-time high. And then it's going to pull back again. And then we're going to go for it again, and we're going to go for it again. And there'll be a few attempts at all-time high before it actually breaks out. This isn't like Bitcoin where it just blasts through all-time highs. Like, altcoins are different. They take some time to do it, especially Ethereum. It's done it on the last couple of occasions, the last two cycles, where it took a few attempts to actually break through that all-time high before finally clearing it. Other levels to be aware of. Something I really want to see the previous week lows hold. All right, because this is where we dropped into. We had the previous week lows. This is the CME gap here, right? This shaded area. I would like to see this previous week low hold now as a higher low. So if we can just squeeze here, maybe just sweep these lows again and then break out, get through that previous week open, then we can start looking at making some like a real decent rally here. So this is what I really want to see today, is hold here, okay, then we can get a bit of a squeeze because people are bearish, and then we start to aim for that weekly open. Because, and I've explained this to the crew already, we still have a very high probability right now of taking out the weekly highs. It's still a 90% probability that we do take out weekly highs before the end of this week. So we should rally, all right? Maybe this will be the 1 in 10 that it doesn't do that. But historically speaking, since 2024, only on 2 occasions have we had a move down on the Monday that hasn't ended up in a reversal midweek and a green week. So if we do get these moves down on the Monday, then we do end up taking those Monday highs. We do end up taking those weekly highs almost all the time. That's on Bitcoin, but now that Ethereum is doing its thing as well, then we do have to be aware of that. So it is still a very strong probability that we do come back up to around like this 4,480 from here. So we just have to see if this can hold. If it can reverse, it's no guarantee, but it is a very high probability that we do come up and take these highs. With Bitcoin, it's a similar situation, okay? So there's a very high probability that we start trading back above 117,500 by the end of this week. There's a very high probability that we're at 118K, basically. So if we can hold here, then everything's looking good. We can be looking for a rally back up to 118K and then start to reassess. If we can get that previous week open, right? So we had this, like last week, we had this rotation around the weekly open, then we rejected from it on the Friday, and that was the opportunity, a real good opportunity to go short. But here we're at range lows, so it's once again, similar to Ethereum, a good zone to be bidding. It's just a case of like right, if these lows go, there's a lot of air, there's a lot of space underneath here, that it could get really, really, really nasty. And then we have to start looking back at like, all right, where's our anchor view at from back here? We're probably looking back to like 110k again. If these range lows go, I think 108 to 110 looks like a good area right now. We also have some moving averages, right? We're like running along here. This could take a while to get back here, but again, similar kind of situation to the last correction, where we had this first move down and then this ABCD, which ran below that 50 EMA before getting a decent reversal. And we have a similar thing here, on this occasion taking out the highs. So do we make a higher low, or do we start to expand this out and make like a bit of a like speaker whatever pattern type of thing that we have here? So overall, still like bullish on the market, right? It's just a case of how deep this correction goes. I still think we're very likely going to be going a lot higher over the next couple of months. I'm not worried about this at all, but we never know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen in the market. We could go into a bear market here. I just don't think it's likely. We have rate cuts coming up again, and the timing of this, because we're probably going to see some rate cuts in this quarter, right? The suggestion is that we're going to get it next month. So if we do get it next month, then that's bullish, but we need that correction beforehand in order to get that, like, in order to get it, basically. There's no FOMC this month, is there? Or it is next month, right? I can't even remember. I'm so like, I've lost track of everything. The other interesting thing on Bitcoin is this naked point of control that we had at 114k. There was an attempt to hold here. I did go long on the MPOC. Again, I had to take a little bit of a loss on that, but I'm still holding some of that position. This bounce so far, like Ethereum, has taken out these local highs and got a pullback. With Bitcoin, we've come back into that point of control where it tried to get a reaction to begin with, wasn't able to do so. Now it's coming back in to correct some imbalance that we have below us here. So everything's looking okay. I think Bitcoin's looking weaker than ETH. We still have these range lows, but as we so often see, internal lows, when you're in a range bound environment like this, internal lows seem to be much more effective than the external lows. All right, this is what we saw, at least back at the highs here, right? Internal lows swept, and then you get the big move down, right? We've had it on this correction here like a number of times where we had like these lows and we had internal lows taken, highs taken, internal lows taken, bounce, and then finally go for the external afterwards. So we've been here before. We've been here many times on Bitcoin and crypto in general, where it's the internal lows that really like that give you a nicer move. And if we are to take these lows, then you'd expect more of a capitulation. So would be very nice to see this hold. We don't know if it's going to yet, so let's just wait and see. And we have 5 minutes to go until New York Open. So I guess we can start to have a little look at that now as well, right? So before I start this, I need to put some food in the oven, I think, because I'm very hungry and I want to eat. So if I got myself a pie and that will probably take about an hour, maybe less. So maybe I just put that in the oven and then I can eat, because I've only just got back home. Like literally I got home, I've been out all day, got home about 45 minutes ago, haven't eaten, and it's 9:30 p.m. So before New York Open starts, let me just put this in the oven. Right? Let me just turn camera off, turn mic off, and I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Ask any questions in the chat if you want. Okay. I'll be able to eat in an hour-ish. Where were we? Okay, let's look at the NQ before we do anything else. Shorty, you'll forget it in the oven. I've set a timer. I will not forget it in the oven because I have set a timer. Patrick, what about ADA? Okay, maybe later we can look at ADA. Right, 2 minutes to go. Let's just look on the 15. There's nothing. So everything locally has been sorted out, right? You had this little gap here, that's done there. You had this one, that's done, right? So we got to break out of this little range. So this range probably breaks as we go into the open here. What I think we will see, what I hope we will see, sweep up internal highs, come back down internal lows, and then try and break out, right? So I'm looking at these two levels to begin with. So I'm looking at this high. This is just for the first few minutes of trading. And I'm looking at this low. Once they go, because I think Asia lows may be a little bit of a stretch right now, but we need to mark those on the chart as well. We have 1 minute exactly. So let's just go for our daily open high low. And we'll just mark these on. And then we'll pop down onto the 30 seconds. And we'll see if this high can go just as we start. So if that is, that probably sets us up for a short straight away if we just pop up here. Right? So there we go. New York session is open. No, it's not. 30 seconds to go. I'm on a 30-second time frame. That's why it's so slow. Here we go. Bing, bing, bing. Let's see. Immediately there's that sorted out. There's that correction. Like, you go for these. See if we can go for these highs. So what we're basically doing is just looking for gaps, right? Looking for imbalance. So we're dropping, so maybe go for these lows first. Doesn't really matter what happens first. I will say they haven't got the London session turned on, right? Are they London lows that have just been swept? Shit! It is London lows, right? No, London lows are lower. Okay, fine. London lows are down here. Ah! You take out... Okay, there's your London lows. Right, turn this off. This is where I think we get a little bounce. Not necessarily looking at London lows yet. I think the other lows were better, but let's mark these London lows on anyway, because actually that's maybe better. But regardless, I think this gives you maybe small bounce. We have small bounce. Do we have any movement on BTC or ETH? Yep, a little bit. If you'd gone scalp long there, it would have just been like, just get the money. This is still a very, very, very narrow range to start the session. So that's what I mean. The little bounce was there. There go your London lows. Trading panel. Let's turn it on. Let's do paper trading because this is a long for me. What's this? I still have this trade open from last week. I forgot about this. At the end of the stream, I just ended the stream. I didn't close this trade out. I completely forgot that I even had this. We'll lose. Damn it. Okay, so we're starting from a negative 8k. Let's have a bit of fun today. All right, we're going to try and get this back to break. This is paper trading. It doesn't matter. But let's try and get this back to break even and see what happens. I'm going to go 4 contract trades. We're going to... no, we're maybe going to go 10 contract trades. And we'll have a bit of fun with it. Because I'm not trading this myself today. Last week I was trading as well. I had my iPad and I was trading, but I'm not going to do that today. So I've already missed the long because I was talking. But it's still a very narrow range. I think we can probably, if you're going to go long here, just wait for these highs. The midpoint would be sensible also. Like TP there. But if you've got more than one contract running, let's just see if we can go for these highs. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing, what ETH is doing. Not a lot. So there's your TP on any long. Maybe you can just short this now. Again, it's too fast. I'm gonna do little 5 contracts, and we'll see how crazy this can get. How much is the stop loss if it goes all the way down here? Ooh, all right. This is more just to test the contract size. I'm not actually thinking about this as a proper trade. I just wanted to see how much you'd lose. Which is probably a silly thing for me to do, right? But it's fine. Just get rid of that. Okay. So we have 7.5k left to make. I missed the two easy ones. The sweep of the London lows and then the short from these highs. So you need to wait for something else. Devil, I get stressed while watching paper trading. You can't get stressed. This is the thing about trading, right? Once you do it long enough, like paper trading, real trading, it makes absolutely no difference to me. Like yesterday when we were dumping, I was just saying, okay, this is chill. You take losses sometimes. And once you just don't care anymore, and it's like, yeah, fine, whatever. You know what you want the market to do, and you just react to what it does. It's very, 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 like, I actually find trading quite relaxing, to be honest. Maybe I'm weird. I used to find it stressful. Here we go. Here's another opportunity. But because we don't really have any levels to speak of right now. Edwin, to me it does. Once it's real money, I start trading with my butt cheeks squeezed. I need to learn how to do that. Emotions are my big problem. Okay, one thing that I think actually one thing that helped enormously with my emotions was just switching, at least on here, was just starting to use prop firms. Because like, what's the worst case scenario? You lose your account. And then what do you have to do? Just get another one, right? And especially now that you have instant funded, okay, you don't need to pass challenges anymore on prop firms. Like, those days are gone. And like, top step, okay, you still need to pass a challenge. But with what I'm using now, you don't need to pass a challenge anymore. You just buy capital. And if you have the capital, then what's the worst case scenario? You just lose your account. It really doesn't matter. If you lose your account, you lose your account, you buy a new one. And if you're overall profitable, then the amount that you get with payouts over time can like massively outweigh that, right? So it's that's why it becomes really relaxing. Because you just know it's you just know that like you're not gonna get like completely fucked by it. Poor lag. I'm going to set a TP limit up here. I only want to do one. Maybe I get stopped on the rest of this. We'll see if these highs go. I don't like these lows, by the way, but I think it's enough to squeeze a little something from, maybe. No, not gonna happen. Fair enough. Where are we at to begin with? Ah, we're still up. Fine. First, you need to start not sucking so you don't need to reopen an account. Yeah. Quite often it's like, I mean, I still blow accounts regularly. What do I use for prop firm? I use this. I'll post a link. Okay, I have a really itchy nose, so I'm sorry if I'm like, ugh. And also my iPad is down here. Yeah, hold on. Let me find this for you. Copy link. And how much discount is this giving right now? So this is the link. So I use top 1 futures. That's the main thing I'm using now. And then if I go to that link and we have a little look at it, and you use the code Toros. Okay? So code, trying to write this on my iPad. Toros. Start trading now. What's happening here? BTC a bit dumpy. Yep, so what you can do, you have these accounts. So these are the accounts you can use, right? You have Elite Challenge, so these are challenge accounts. These are the cheapest. You have Instant Sim Funded and Sim to Funded, straight to funded Sim Pro. So these two here are straight to funded. You don't need to pass a challenge, but they're more expensive. Instant Sim Funded is the best one. It has less rules. Straight to funded Sim Pro, you need to have a consistency target. It's a little bit annoying to begin with. You need to get used to it, but it's actually fine. So the cost of these, if I go for, like, if you want to, like, take a challenge. In fact, I can just share my screen here, right? Let me just share my screen here. Oh, right, it's already here. What the fuck? Wait a second. Why has my browser not been hidden? Have I been, like, doxing myself? Shit. When did that come up? I don't know how long it's been there. I hope I haven't been doxing myself. Alright, anyway. Code Toros. So that's a 50% discount. Instant Sim Funded. No, straight to this one. This one. We want 100k. Then Taurus. 60-ish percent. No, 50% discount. 50% discount. Okay, let's get rid of that quickly. And let's go back to this. So yeah, with that code, you get a 50% discount if you want to get funded. Is that monthly payment for one account? No. The challenge accounts. Oh, we're taking out the lows here on the NQ. The challenge accounts renew monthly if you don't pass. But who's going to trade a challenge account for a whole month? Nobody, right? So you're not going to trade a challenge account for a whole month. So that doesn't matter. The instant funded is just a one-time fee. Okay, there's no activation fee. It's not anything like that. You just pay for it, and then you get the account. This is monthly open on the NQ. Where's the ES? Where are we at there? Whoo! ES has not taken out previous day lows or today's low. I am wanting to long again, but I'm not going to do it just yet because I need to see a little bit more than this, right? Let's wait for a nice low. We're just going to go for it. Right? I missed it by changing the contract size. Let's go for it. YOLO! We want to make 8K and we're going to try and do it before we lose $1 million. Yo, this one is not a good low. Come on. I think this is the difference where paper trading comes in, because at the moment I'm just like, nah, right? Because I'm not actually. There's no levels to really work on here. Okay, if you fill the whole 4-hour gap, then fair enough. But I'm just pissing about right now. So actually, let's get out of this trade because there's no thought process here. It's silly. All right, don't follow what I'm doing here. There's no thought process. I don't know where we are, the context of where we are. Yes. Hasn't taken out previous day lows yet. Looks like it's about to, right? So let's also watch the ES, because here go the lows on that. There they go. Right, double bottom. Hasn't actually swept the low. But if ES bounces, what's ETH's holding up okay. What do you think about breakout prop from main and cred? Yeah, that breakout is good as well. I don't with crypto I don't trade prop. I just don't like the platform. The platform is absolute trash for breakout, and it's the same with all these crypto prop firms. It's like a horrible platform. So the nice thing about Top One and Top Step is actually the trading platform that you use is really nice, but on breakout it's disgusting. It's horrible. I can't trade on it. You can't trade on your phone and all these kind of things. It's just nasty. So yeah, I don't like it. The nice thing about Top One and Top Step is I can just trade it on my iPad, and I find it easier to trade on my iPad. It's just super simple, very clean, really nice to trade on. So I like it a lot. This is dumb. I'm just waiting to see if this gets green, because this is dumb. Like, this low's not going to hold. These lows aren't going to hold. Yeah, shorty, yeah. Trusted, but it's clunky as fuck. Stopped using it, but had no issues with the payments. Yeah, exactly. They're a good. It's really bad, like, because we've already SFP'd previous day lows. This is not looking good for Bitcoin, but we'll see. We have range lows down here. I think this is what I was saying earlier, like Bitcoin still looked like shit. Ethereum looked a lot better, or still looks a lot better. Like ETH, I'm not too worried about Ethereum. At the moment. Woo! That made me jump. That's my food. That's telling me I need to check on it. I think on ETH I may... Yeah, I've already TP'd on the long. We're at golden pocket here. I'm just going to add to this. Because if Bitcoin makes a lower low, ETH makes a higher low. Because we're here, let's see what it can do. Alright. The trade is this. So this is what we wanted to see on the open, right? This is precisely what we wanted. But it's... Oh... I forgot about this. All right, where? Oh my God, where is everything? Where is this one? You got that little 4-hour gap, Phil. I also like Sol and I like Doge here. Ugh, anchored VWAPs everywhere. It's nasty. Let's turn them off. Why is there a VWAP here? We don't want you. Doge. Okay. Edwin, why is everything so dumpy? Sorry, I missed the beginning. I mean, everything's been straight line up for a long time, so like, it's a good thing, right? Like, look at Ethereum. I mean, we need some kind of correction. Whether this comes down to back to, because I still want this. I still want this on ETH. I just think we get a bit of a bounce, but like, yeah, I still want to take out these lows. That's this, like below 3,300 is where I want to go long on Ethereum. I'm in a long now, but it's not one. I mean, if this can send it to all-time highs, then great. But yeah, as I said at the beginning, we came very close to all-time highs. There's going to be profit taking going on there. There's going to be people selling. You don't just take all-time highs and go up in a straight line like on first attempt. It's natural that we get a pullback, and we're 15% down from the highs that we put in last week. So I think it's okay. I think this is a correction is absolutely fine. Where it is right now, this could easily bounce it back up to like 4,500. But still, if I actually wanted to reload Ethereum, if I'd been selling spot close to all-time highs, I'm not buying spot here. I'm waiting for 3,300. I'm waiting for like around there. So for a leverage trade, fine, but I would rather wait for lower prices. And maybe we get something similar to the previous bull market, where Bitcoin as well can start to do something similar. I'm not saying we have this like massive correction like we did last time, but there's no reason why this can't drop a little bit lower into that VWAP and then start to look a little bit more like this, right? But everything's way like been like You just look at the run that things have been on over the last month or so. There's some stuff that looks really good here. Doge and Solana are two that I really, really like. Oh shit. We're just gonna, okay, ignore. Ignore this. We're gonna talk about crypto. I'm not interested in trading when there's another meltdown going on within equities. There's just no point. There's no point trading this whatsoever. It's just not gonna, like, there's nothing that you can do here. Unless you're in a short position, there's absolutely nothing you can do here. So let's ignore this for a moment and let's watch what Bitcoin and ETH are doing first of all, and then we'll start to have a look at the altcoins. Can I take a look at hype? Yes. Where is the total market cap at right now as well? Like, this just goes to show like how yeah, right now it's like, I really wouldn't be surprised to see another 15% lower here on the whole crypto market. I really would not be surprised to see 15% lower. I think that's when things start to look much nicer. And you can also start to, like, from the breakout, go for something like this, right? Come back down here, even turn it into some kind of but anyway, we're going for this on ETH. Yeah, let's look at hype. Load of news, new chart. Lucifer, the odds of you making money are severely stacked against you with breakout. They only allow a total of 6% drawdown before you get liquidated. Show me a strat that doesn't have 6% drawdowns. That's prop trading. That's life. Yeah, you just have to risk management. If you're trading prop, you need to be scalp trading, right? Because then you can just, if you're swing trading, yeah, you're not going to make money with the prop firm. If you're trying swing trades, because I regularly go into 20-30% drawdown on my account if I'm taking a bunch of swing trades. It's fine. Like I push to a limit that's reasonable, and for me, having 20-30% drawdown, above 30%, I start to get a little bit like. But yeah, in crypto, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get these big capitulations, and you're not gonna be able to time the bottom. So you may as well just DCA and have some drawdown for a while. And it's quite nice to manage risk with drawdown. But yeah, if you're trading on prop firms, you can't swing trade for that very reason, because you're just never gonna make any money from it. And with crypto, it's not the best market to scalp. So the fees are high. The levels, it's not that efficient. That's why with this, I just need to get rid of this, don't I? Every time I look at this screen, or we just turn paper trading off for a moment, right? We can just turn it off. How do we turn it off? We'll turn it back on in a bit, and we'll just do the TA. What was I doing? This is what I mean. Like, if you're not going to take internal lows, you just run on these lows until something happens here. Yeah, breakout only has 5x leverage for BTC and 3x on alt, so you can't scalp at all or risk at all and lose money. Again, that's the better thing about using the NQ. This is 500x leverage, right? So you trade one contract, it's 500x. So you're trading like $1 million positions, even just with like a single contract. So that's the nice thing about CME. And you can trade the Bitcoin CME contract, which is 30x, I believe. So you can trade with decent size on this and you can scalp it. And that's why prop firms work well. And that's why you can very easily work with a 6% drawdown, because you're just getting in and out really quickly. That's the way to make money with prop firms, is to get in and out quickly. No, just don't hold on to trades like I did, because then you blow accounts. Like that trade I took earlier, holding it, blown account, done. Anyway, hype. Nice support. Just let me pause camera a minute. Let me check on my Pi. Okay. I'm back again. Yeah, so hype. I said it would go to $50, it went to $50. I don't know from here on in. Yeah. 49,878. So hype, I still am holding a little bit. It doesn't look great. But this is what I mean. Internal highs were taken. We didn't make a new all-time high. That was the high. Internal lows down here were taken. I think realistically, we're probably looking at a move down to $30 again. That's quite a big drop. I think on Hyperliquid, I'd be interested again around $30. If I was long here, I would be... I mean, if I was long from the highs, I'd be absolutely shitting it. What I would really like to see is a big range. So come down here, take these lows, and then we go for the highs again. Right? That's what I'm looking for. The more I look at these charts, the more bearish things start to appear. So let's find a bearish scenario on... I mean, the bearish scenario on the NQ is that we move back down to 22k. And on the ES... it's going to be... Things could get ugly and still be bullish. I don't know. I feel like this is a bit bear trappy. But yeah, we can't be sure. So let's just wait and see. If we are going to get drops like this, right, you just need to protect your capital right now. You just think of an amount, like, okay, I think what's happened recently is people have been underexposed to most of the move up. They're now probably a little bit overexposed from any little correction that we've had between, like, within these ranges that we've had. It probably goes for myself as well, because I didn't get this move. I think I'm a little overexposed. So what you need to do now is just think of how much you're willing to lose if you're wrong, and then just be patient on that idea. Like, okay, if we do continue to drop here, how much of that account, how much of this account am I willing to lose in order to just be like, right, it starts to look more likely that we're going to go for something like this. We don't know if it's going to happen. You could get like, yeah, it could be a bear trap. You may lose 30% of your account. You may lose 40% of your account. And then it runs. And that would be really, really frustrating. But preserving capital right now, if you're a little exposed to the long side of things, which I think is maybe where I am at the moment as well, I think you just have to just make sure you're surviving, because it's unlikely you're going to survive a drop down to here, right? It's very unlikely, because if you're long from somewhere near the highs, which would be ridiculous if you are long, like I'm long from here, right? Like literally right where price is. But if you drop another 20%, that's like anything above 4-5x leverage is going to get liquidated. And even if you're holding spot and we're going down another 20%, that's still probably more than you would want to take, right? So be aware. I don't think we're at that stage yet where you need to be real risk off, but it's getting close. We would have to wait and see what happens on these lows if Bitcoin starts to run. Any aggression below 111, if this doesn't just take lows and reverse, I think at that point you got to get out, because you're probably going back down to the low 100s again. So here's certainly not the time to be short on the market, and it's not yet the time to really panic. But you're not far away from panic. We're not far from a capitulation here. We're getting quite close to the point in which the market will capitulate. And I think any aggression below 111k is when the market will start to capitulate. So be aware. And a capitulation will take you much lower, right? A capitulation is what's going on right now on the NQ. Okay, this is very, very bad. Yeah. And I don't really see how this reverses. Unless what we're seeing today so far on this open is not looking good. Crypto's holding okay for now, but I think this starts to get ugly again. So and this, I don't know. I don't like this. Look how similar this looks to the NQ last week. We just had this slow, steady downtrend. We're still in a very slow and steady downtrend. Okay? Look at what the NQ is doing. Right? Slow and steady downtrend. Slow and steady downtrend into support. Poof. Poof. This could be what comes next in crypto. Okay, if the NQ is doing this today, and I wasn't expecting this to happen today, but if the NQ is doing this today and the ES is doing this today, I do not think that this holds. The longer this is going on, the worse this is getting. The longer this stream continues, the worse this is starting to look. And this is still very, 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 very slow. Okay? So I do not want to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think tomorrow is the end of this. I don't think yesterday was the end of this. I think if we're going to get a capitulation, that maybe happens over, like, this could go on for a few days. So we're on Wednesday now. And if we're going to drop any further, then that's going to continue. Like, you're going to continue this onto Friday. If we don't bounce today, I don't think there's a high probability that we're going to bounce on a Friday and get a reversal on a Thursday and a Friday. You just may as well just keep dropping at that point. You're getting so close to the end of the week that just keep going. Just keep going down, 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 down. And have like 3 days of carnage. So can your accounts take 3 days of carnage? Most probably not. Nejk, are you looking for a long at the low on BTC or expecting lower? I don't. Like, we just have to react to what the market's giving us. Okay, and it may. I think the more likely options right now are either this is a bit of a bear trap because shorts right now, the TP is down here, okay? In the same way that for ETH longs, the TP was at all-time highs. I think we're either looking at this being very trappy, and if legacy markets can actually catch a bid somewhere and reverse today, it's not, like, this isn't out the realms of possibility that this just does this today, right? It could happen. It could happen. We've seen this happen so many times. If it does that, and we're still holding these levels, then cool. But the fact that equities are dropping so much, to me, means that if we start to go these lows, we're likely to run them as well. Like, really, really run on them. Another few percent down, right? Maybe another 10% lower. So maybe another 8 to 10% drop on Bitcoin, maybe another 15% drop on Ethereum. If these range lows go, because I don't think they should go. I think, like we've seen before, internal lows have a good hit rate, the same as internal highs, at least to get a bounce. So let's wait and see. I'm a little bit annoyed. I missed a really, really easy chance to go short on Monday. I didn't take it. So we just have to wait and see what happens here. Because this is an extremely ugly initial balance so far. Extremely ugly. The problem with me streaming as well, I'm not even looking at my account. I don't know what kind of damage is being done to my account. Ah, I don't know what kind of damage is being done to the vault here either. Shit. Never mind. I'll check it out in a bit. Why is my phone going into sleep mode? And it's still dropping. And Bitcoin is still dropping. And ES is still dropping. What's this alert? ETH. This something else this reminds me of here is the first correction we had the last time we had a big correction. Maybe not. I mean, we've put in these double... Let's see. You're talking about taking profits risk off when you're overexposed on the long side. Would you say the same to spot bags when you have little cash? My thought on spot bags is unless you need the cash, don't do anything about it. If you need money, then sell. If you don't, then don't. Like spot bags for me are just a volatile bank account. You don't really know how much you're going to have in it day to day. You might be selling stuff at a 90% discount, but that's life. So that's the way that I think about spot bags, really. Like, have you take profit targets on spot bags. Like, if ETH breaks above all-time highs and you start going into price discovery, then you're probably looking at starting to sell those spot bags. But if you're not reaching targets on things like Solana, for example, There's nowhere, like, if you have a spot bag here on Solana, there's absolutely zero reason to be selling it, for me. Because of where it's at, yeah? Because you probably won't have made any money if you have a spot bag on Solana if you've been buying it during this cycle. Okay, you're right, like, in the middle here. So you're probably not really making any money on it. So, yeah, spot bags on most things, unless it's Bitcoin. Selling Bitcoin when you're at all-time highs and you've gone into price discovery, fine. But nothing else has. So unless you need the money, I wouldn't. That's my thought. Let me check on my Pi again. Hold on. And this is the other thing, right? Like Hype, for example. If you had spot bags on Hype, and $50 was the target for me to sell. And we've hit that. If now we go to $100, cool, but I'll probably be doing that on leverage. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to be holding spot anymore. I got an airdrop. I was able to buy some more, and I'm not holding it. I was selling it even went before here. I wasn't sure about $50. That's just what this trade has been for the longest time. I should have shorted it. Again, hindsight. Another one I have spot bag on. I still have some Pengu. Okay? I still have some Pengu because realistically I'm looking for this. I'm looking for these highs. I'm looking for higher. So I wouldn't be selling here? No. But if I needed the money, then yeah, sure. Something else I'm holding spot. Doge is the Doge, Pengu, and Hype. And then a little bit of Ethereum, a little bit of Bitcoin. Don't really have anything else. Don't really have anything else spot. Do I have anything else in spot? No. No, I had this one, but I sold this because I needed some cash. And I sold this when it was, I bought it here, and I was under for a while, and I sold out of a lot of this. Sui, can you take a look at Sui maybe? It's one of the coins I would include in my portfolio in addition to ETH and Sol. I'm also considering Ondo as well as an RWA. Tau for AI and Pepe for meme. Sui I like. Could go lower still. I'd really be looking at some kind of capitulation here, to be honest. If we can get it. If you can get back into Sui around $3, because you have this quite nice. You have taken out these highs, but because of how deep each of these corrections have been, I don't really think you necessarily need to go all the way for those lows again. You would have a rather nice harmonic pattern playing out there if it does. There's a lot of these currently bearish but will turn into bullish harmonics playing out. Yeah? You have quite a lot of these right now. All over the place. Tau I really like. And again, Tau looks like a decent accumulation to me. And I think this is what I've been talking about recently with Tau, is anything below $300 looks nice. Okay, I had some buys. This is long. But I went long Tau at $300. We haven't yet. And yeah, you have trades that look like this. Yeah, this could go back down to $300 again. It could go to 250. It shouldn't be making it. Never took all-time lows back here. But you have decent opportunities for longs against these like lows, which are really quite nice right now. It's just be aware, like things could drop lower before we get there. For me, like I say, this is either a bear trap right now and we're just going to run this back now, today, or things are going to get ugly for a few days. I do not like the idea of sweeping those lows and going long. I just don't like that as a trade. I prefer to be long here and to let it go if these lows are taken, or just to wait for much lower. I don't really like saying that either, but yeah. Thoughts on CRV if we go into the 70s, 70 cents. CRV was another I was looking at the other day. Yeah, this is the thing. Altcoins still have so much more potential upside than the risk you can take here. So yeah, where are we at? We're 30% down from local highs. If you were to be able to get this at a 40-50% discount from where we've been recently, when it hasn't actually come to these will go. I'm very, very confident that these will go, but like easily before the end of the year. But is this enough of a correction right now? Actually, this looks decent. You have a little bit of a wedge. It looks, I hate the term, but it looks bull flaggy. You may have some moving averages coming up to meet it. You're right on that 50-day EMA. Right at it here, and running below it slightly is okay. How are you at with your anchored VWAP? That's on the 200. How are you at with the local anchored VWAP? I'd guess we're below it. Yeah, we are below it. Bitcoin's bouncing a little bit. I've had a let's see, we're back above 113 again. So this is the time, right? This is the moment. We either bounce here, or I think we run a lot lower on these lows. Like I say, I don't like the idea of just an SFP of these lows. Bounce here or run lower. This or this. I do not like this. Another one that I really like. It's old, but as in terms of an accumulation, VeChain. Sure, this is such an old chart. But I like the accumulation from this. I think we've had a clear sign of strength at the end of last year. We've come all the way back down again. And I think even some of these old Dino coins, even if you can just take it up 100% from here, there's no reason why you can't be expecting something like that. Tier even. Alright, I know this has been fudded like crazy, but Tier looks like a very, very nice reaccumulation down here, below all-time lows. So you had a nice run up for all the airdrop people, myself included. You come back down and you're running below all-time lows, and in my opinion, reaccumulating all-time lows before having another run. Now, I don't think you're going to run to all-time highs again. I don't think that's really that realistic. But if you can get back to $10 from $1.60. It's a very, very nice trade. So there's a lot of stuff out there with a lot of room to go. LDO and Eigen, yeah. Let's look at both of them. LDO. I'm just going to quickly whiz through these. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap it up now because my food is ready. I need to turn the oven off. Yeah, LDO could be something if you get a decent pullback again. It's gone a little bit too high. You've corrected everything from here, right? Weekly OB, bearish, rejecting off of that. If you can come back down to $1, if we're going to get these big moves down, if you can come back down to $1, something like that looks really good. Eigen. This one looks better. Okay. That actually looks really, really nice. Just very, very simple. It's like some inverse head and shoulders kind of thing here with a very long, like, second stage of this accumulation. You have the drop and then you have this reaccumulation. And again, you're just going for these highs probably here. Don't necessarily have to go for those big all-time highs, but these ones look tasty. $4.20 from $1.30. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff. Upside risk, upside reward greatly outweighs downside risk still. But it does look like we may have just had the bear trap. So this is some kind of relief. Okay. So we can end this. We're going to end this on a positive, is that we have just V-shaped some of this. We have avoided the range lows, which I think is important. We have avoided another low on Ethereum, which I think is important. This is the move we wanted. It just went a little bit lower. It just got a little bit sketchy for a while. NQ is still dropping, so we do still need to be aware of that. Like, this certainly hasn't reversed yet, but that's coming very close to liquidity also. ES has just made another new low. Bitcoin's being resilient, but it needs to get back above these highs. Ethereum needs to clear through to like 4,280. Bitcoin needs to clear through that MPOC, get back to around about 14,800. And then maybe we're looking okay here. But like I said, nice. I bought this dip on ETH. We're up a little bit now. So yeah, let's see how this goes. I'm going to wrap it up there because we're not going to get any real conclusion to this during this stream now. We're gonna get halted at some point here, but if we can get back above here, if price breaks above this, a certain alert, I really like the look of 4,280. If we can get back above there, then I'm fairly happy. So yeah, that's a good point in which to end it, because still nothing to talk about here, but at least we're getting some kind of reaction now, some kind of proper reaction. We swept the previous day low on the daily open, but now New York has joined the party. Now America's involved, and we've done it again. So we've swept those previous day lows, and we've done it again. So let's see. Hopefully a rally. Hopefully we've seen the low. Hopefully this was the bear trap, and we get some decent rally from this. It's looking okay, but it needs to do a lot more because we're just back up at resistance again here. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like if you have not done so already. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.